Hello, beautiful children. Lovely to see you again in my mind's eye. Now, this is the last parsha, the last Bible portion, Vayechi, which is in the first book of the Torah called Bereshit, Genesis, and it is the last parsha of the first book of the 5 books of Moses, of the Torah. So we're finishing off Parshat Vayechi today. Woohoo! And then maybe I get to see you for Shemot, or maybe not. We'll see. Okay, so what's going to happen in this week's Parsha? Are you ready? Rolling back the time, and one more, rolling back the time, and one more, rolling back the time, and thinking and thinking and thinking. Well, so much happens in this week's Parsha, children. Of course, we have Jacob, who is getting much older in the land of Egypt. He gets to spend the last 17 years of his life happily and in peace with all his sons united. But sadly, he's getting older and it's his time to go back to Hashem. And when he realizes that his time is coming and his eyes are weakening, he calls to Joseph, and Joseph comes to see him, and he makes Joseph promise that no matter what, his body will be taken and buried in Israel in the cave of Machpelah, which belongs to the Jewish people. And Joseph makes that promise. Shortly afterwards, people warn Joseph that his father is even more sick. Now, most of the time, SPS, some people say, aka also known as the Midrash, that when Joseph goes to visit his father, he takes one of his brothers with, so that the brothers would never have to worry that he is telling their father what they really did to him, that they really sold him. But in this case, I believe he went only with Ephraim and Manasseh and Ephraim. Which one's the older one? Well, in this week's Parsha, it all gets muddled. The older one is actually Manasseh. The younger son of Joseph is actually called Ephraim. And it was the custom in those days for the father to bless their sons, their children. And so Joseph thinks, right, well, I'd better put Manasseh, right hand, right side for Manasseh, Ephraim, left hand, left side. But Joseph is quite confused when Yaakov switches his hands. Let's see. I had to redo the video because I didn't put my video properly where the laminates could be seen. So I hope this time I am showing the laminate properly. I hope so. I really, really do. Okay. And Jacob goes on to say, may you be fruitful like fish, etc., etc., etc. And Joseph then can't contain himself. So, no, Daddy, look, honestly, no, Daddy, we don't do it like this. The older one gets, you've switched your hands. And Jacob says, I know what I'm doing. They are both very special. But the tribe of Ephraim is going to be even more special, Joseph. And we know, in fact, that Moses, the greatest leader, after him comes Joshua, who comes from the tribe of Ephraim, and that very special, important people are going to come from the tribe of Ephraim. Joshua is so great that he made the sun freeze in the sky when they had to do fisticuffs with the Canaanites, the Israelites and the Canaanites. Now all those fights are long, long gone. So God helped Joshua by freezing the sun in the sky just for Joshua. So he was very special. So we have to accept that Jacob, who was a Navi, he was a prophet, he knew what he was doing. Let's sing the tribes. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zevulun, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Yosef, and Binyamin. These are the 12 Shevatim. Of course, remembering that Joseph was actually split into 2, Ephraim and Manasseh. Ephraim first. And of course, when Jewish people bless their children on Friday night, or bless them, we bless the sons, Ephraim v'Manasseh. We bless them saying Ephraim's name first. The children are also, the girls are also blessed, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, the foremothers. Okay, so how about Reuven then? Well, I hope you can see this laminate. I hope I'm showing it clearly. You should be able to see a crown. You should be able to see water and a big cross knocking it out. So Reuven is too impetuous. Sometimes it's nice to rush into things. Make your mind up, get on with it. I like that. Decisive. That can be very good. But sometimes it can be a little bit dangerous. If you rush in too quickly, you don't listen, you don't absorb the information, then you can make a mistake. And Reuven has in many occasions jumped right in. So although he's also capable of showing restraint, and this bracha to Reuven is telling him, if you show restraint, things will be okay with you, but you are not going to get the priesthood, you are not going to get the double portion, and you are not going to get what's usually associated with the Bechor, the firstborn. Let's get to Shimon and Levi. Hopefully you'll be able to see, I do hope you'll be able to see these two laminates for Shimon and Levi. Right, well, they don't get such a wonderful bracha either. They are also going to be very important, but Shimon, you are definitely too trigger happy. You are going to live in the land of Yehudah. You have to be split from your brother Levi, because if you're put together, you're going to be naughty. Sometimes teachers have to split children. It's not that they don't like the children very much, and it's not that the children don't like to sit together. I've also, in my children's service, was very careful about who sits with who, not because I don't want you to all have a good time, I do, but I want you to all learn. And sometimes certain children, when put together, they just won't learn as well as if they're not together. It's not a punishment. It's just so that each child can reach their full potential. They can go as far as they need to go. So Shimon and Levi, no, you're not going to live together. And Levi, in fact, is not going to get any land of its own. The tribe of Levi will get 48 places, cities, arei miklat, cities of refuge, but they don't specifically belong to the Leviim. The Leviim are not specifically allocated land in Israel. Okay, Yehudah, can you see that? I do hope so. I do hope you can see this laminate clearly. Right, the lion cub to the lion. Gur Aryeh Yehudah ka Aryeh. A lion cub will grow up to be a lion. Yes, there are mistakes with Yehudah as well, but the lion cub will persevere. There will be kings who are not that great from the tribe of Yehudah, but there will also be amazing people. There will be Nachshon ben Aminadav, one of the princes who would go jumping into the Yam Suf to split the water to show faith in God. There will be Bezalel, who will create and fashion the Mishkan for Hashem, Hashem's special tent, and then Hashem's special house will come later, the Bet HaMikdash. And Evil Azrael ben Kanaz, the first judge. All of these people, these holy descendants, are going to come from the tribe of Judah, and the Mashiach, the Messiah, will be born from the kingdom, the tribe of Yehudah, and they will be the main kings, although it does get split and it all goes wrong later on, but eventually it will come right, and that will be the tribe of Yehudah. So now we have Zevulun, Yisachar first, Yisachar and Zevulun. It doesn't matter actually. Now I hope you can see this, because sometimes I do show my laminates a bit funny, so I've got my phone in an odd position. I hope you are able to see the donkey for Zevulun and Yisachar with the ships. So you've got Yisachar. Now I've swapped it around. Yisachar will learn the Torah. He is the donkey, and Zevulun will be the ship. Zevulun is going to be fishermen. They're going to live by the Mediterranean Sea. How beautiful is that? They're going to do very well in merchandise, working. But because they're going to work so hard, they're going to need some spiritual backup. They're going to need someone to help them on the spiritual level. And that's going to be Yisachar. Yisachar is going to carry the burden of the Torah. It can be very hard to learn and to carry your brother with the Torah. But Yisachar will do that. So Zevulun is the ships, Mediterranean Sea, and Yisachar is the donkey. Okay. Right. Then we get to Dan. We get to the snake. Let's see if you can see this. Dan, hopefully you can see that, is like a snake, a slippery snake. Dan will catch its enemies by the heel. It will attack all of the enemies that want to hurt the Israelite. We will have a very famous person from the tribe of Dan called Shimshon, Samson. And he was a Nazir. He grew his hair and he mustn't have anything to do with grapes, vinegar, wine at all. And the secret to his strength was his hair, but along came a lady called Delilah, and she unfortunately managed to get his hair cut, and then he lost his strength. But he still managed to do lots of saving along the way and cause a lot of trouble to the Pelishtim, who were out to hurt the Israelites at that point. So that's Dan. Now we've got Naphtali. I hope you can see the laminate of Naphtali. The doe, a female deer. And Naphtali is like a doe, quick, speed, but speed in a good way. Naphtali's fruits will blossom first, they'll ripen first. Naphtali will be the first tribe to say the Shehechianu, the first blessing that we say on new fruits. That will be Naphtali. Then we've got Gad. Gad is going to be good with their tents, good with their money, good with their flag. And Gad, I hope you can see it properly. Gad, Gedud, Yugudenu. Be strong at war as well. Very good in battle. Okay, and then we've got Asher. Asher, the vine, the olives. Beautiful daughters who will marry the high priests. And Asher's olives will make the olive oil that will be needed to service the Bet HaMikdash, the temples. Okay, so, and the Mishkan, Hashem's special tent. Then we've got Yosef, Ben Porat Yosef. Now, what can we say about Yosef? We could talk about Yosef for ages. What sort of trials and tribulations, that vine that's stuck in the river and growing out with all of the different things that could destroy the vine, the weather, the insects, goodness knows, although it's lovely to have lots of insects, and insects are very important for our evolution and really important, and the insects have lasted longer than anybody, so they're very important. But at the same time, we want to protect the vine. So Joseph has managed to protect himself, not be caught out by Potiphar's wife, who wanted to catch him, not caught out when he was a viceroy, when he was the second in command in Egypt by all the idolaters, all the people that were worshipping idols. Joseph stayed true to his belief in one God. He always said that it was God that gave him the power. It was God that helped him to translate the dreams. It was God that gave him the decisions to create the storehouses. Everything he said, he attributed to God. So Yosef is very important, the vine that grows out of the water, going from strength to strength. And Binyamin, his brother, I do hope you can see this one as well, the wolf. Now, what would you prefer? Which animal do you think would be stronger at the kill? Maybe we should have a good watch of David Attenborough, and maybe you can tell me which animal you think is the stronger. But I think we do universally accept that the lion is the king of the jungle, even though the lion, the lionesses that go to hunt, they can sometimes hunt and hunt and hunt for hours and come back with nothing. But the same is true for the wolf as well. But Binyamin is compared to a wolf. The wolf will actually get its prey, and then maybe it'll run away and come back again. The lion, unless tremendously provoked, is going to be able to stay with its kill and enjoy its food. Okay, and of course we know that there will be a first king of all the kings is not from the tribe of Yehudah. The first king from all the kings comes from the tribe of Binyamin. And the first king is called Shaul. And Shaul, unfortunately, really suffers with his moods. He has very sad and bad and angry and upset moods all the time. And it helps because there's this lovely man called David who's little and very sweet. And he plays the harp. I do love the harp. Remember, I told you about that beautiful girl that was bat mitzvah that played the harp so amazingly. It was incredible. So when David played the harp, it would make Shaul feel a little bit better. But in turn, then Shaul would get very jealous of David. And David, in fact, would have to spend a lot of time running away from Shaul, from Saul. And David was going to become the real king after Shaul. So it's a very sad story. So there we go. The wolf and the lion. Okay, so Jacob is taken by all the brothers down to the cave of Machpelah. Before Jacob is taken, they mourn for him 40 days, and the Egyptians mourn for him 70 days, and they do all sorts of things to him. And then he is finally taken to the cave of Machpelah, where he is buried. SPS, some people say, aka also known as the Medrash, that they go with such an amount of troops because they are concerned that Esav is going to come and meet them there. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But, and maybe even Naphtali has to go and run and get the paperwork to prove that the cave of Machpelah belongs to Jacob, because he did inherit the birthright fairly and squarely in the end, because Yitzchak agrees and blesses him again, although Esav quite rightly is very upset that he seems to have been cheated out of his birthright. But we know that Jacob is buried there. SPS, some people say there's a bit of a fight and maybe a bit of Esav gets buried there as well. But Yaakov is buried, taken to the cave of Machpelah. I hope you can see it. Okay, and he is 147 years old, which leaves Joseph. So now Joseph is still alive. His brothers are extremely concerned that now that their father is dead, he might turn on them. He might, he's in a position of authority. He might turn on them, but he doesn't turn on them. And they've all come back, because when they buried Jacob, they had to leave most of their possessions behind, their young children behind. Pharaoh was no fool and didn't want all these Jews who were so influential, bringing so much money into the country, to disappear. So he made sure they'd come back. Joseph then calls his brothers and reassures them and says, no, look, honestly, please don't think that I'm going to turn against you. What happened for the best. Hashem made it happen. Stay strong and promise me that when I die, when it's the time to leave Egypt, do not leave Egypt until you get a clear sign. We're going to learn all about that. And then take my bones. Please take me for burial in Israel when you leave the land of Egypt, because you will all leave the land of Egypt. And so that is agreed. The brothers agree it, and Joseph dies at the age of 110. And because he's the viceroy, there is no chance that they can take him back to Israel, to Canaan at that point. It is not allowed. As far as we're aware, a metal coffin is dumped deep into the River Nile. That's one possibility, where Moses, when the time comes, will be busy making sure that he can take the remains of Joseph back to Israel to bury him there. Okay, we've come to an end of it, maybe a few minutes earlier this time. Okay, listen to your mummies and daddies and do what they say. Listen to your mummies and daddies and don't forget to pray. Listen to your mummies and daddies, our rabbis lead the way. Then they will be happy. Don't worry about anything. As soon as I can, I'm going to do that special revised prayer. I'm waiting, as I said, for that gorgeous little boy to do the back page. So you will get that as well. And then, all being well, maybe I will be seeing you face to face for the book of Shemot, the second book of the Torah, but maybe not. If I have to wait, I have to wait. Don't worry about a thing. Be good to your mummies and daddies. See you soon.